don't get all those speaking engagements, not my performance engagements, I didn't get all the things I wanted. And maybe it's back to reality. And I thought it was okay. I thought I could live with myself. But recently, this year, one of my friends challenged me. She said, "What's your New Year's resolution?" Now, you probably know that it's hard to keep New Year's resolutions. But this year, for some reason, it was different. I felt like I had a new calling in my life. And that calling was to inspire other people by sharing my story, by becoming an inspirational speaker. Some of my friends thought, well, you have your American Idol fame, and it can't be that hard to get on stage. Well, the opposite is true. Because actually, many people know me as a performer, but very few people know me as a speaker. So I felt like I started from ground zero again. So what did I do to get myself on stage? Well, I started with the basics. I started by speaking for Toastmasters. I was in Toastmasters for over 5 years, but I haven't really thought about professional speaking. I only thought about it starting this year. In the meantime, I just try to get more comfortable doing different kinds of speeches. I pay my dues, right? I try to start from somewhere. And then, the hard part that I realized was when I got some coaching from mentors, from more experienced speakers. And you know what? The hardest thing is actually not the speaking. You see, I believe everyone in this room is very capable to become a highly paid professional speaker. The hardest thing is putting yourself out there. How do you make yourself known to the community? How do you make yourself relevant? How do you make people care about you? And I have to do it the old-fashioned way. And the old-fashioned way is a lot of emails and a lot of phone calls. Now, here's the interesting part. Sending a few emails is not that hard. But how about if you were to send hundreds of emails and thousands of emails? And to make things worse, what if 85% of the people ignore you? They treat you like you don't exist. And all they do is they don't even read your email and they click that delete button. Yeah, that's reality. And that's what happened to me when I first sent my email campaign. It was a total digital disaster. Because I sent out 1,200 emails, I only got a 15% open rate, and I got 0 opportunities.
That's right.
But I had to start somewhere. I had to learn from what went wrong. And what went wrong for my first email campaign was that I got too greedy. I tried to send out 1,200 emails all at the same time, and therefore, most of the emails went to other people's spam or junk mail. Now, I'm not trying to hold a workshop here, but at the same time, I want to share my real life experience with you because I hope I'm here for you. I want you to succeed. I want you to get out there, put yourself out there. So what I learned throughout this process, as I talk to more friends, mentors, what I learned is that you have to send, like for example, you have to send a few emails at a time. You have to time them. You have to have the right subject lines. You have to have the right body structure. There's an art to it. Oh my God, it's harder than public speaking.
Yeah.
But after sending thousands and thousands of emails and after hundreds of phone calls, I'm finally getting on stage. And I was so happy to get my first paycheck for $100 back in August.
That's right. That's right.
It sounds like a humiliation, but it's not, because you have to start somewhere. And now I'm getting 4 digits. And there you go. It's possible. You can do it. It's just a matter of how you market yourself. So it's not this outbound marketing, sending emails and phone calls. It's not the end. It's more like a beginning, and it's part of the whole process. And there's a lot behind it that I can't go over, but it's something that you may not have to be aware of. And that's why I'm sharing with you. It takes a lot of perseverance. It takes a lot of work. And that work is sometimes worse than working out at a gym. And sometimes I have to fight myself because I realized that what got me here today won't get me there tomorrow, right? You probably heard that before. And it's like, sometimes it's analogous to doing the exercise that I don't like. And one of the exercises I don't like at the gym is doing push-ups. So I have to somehow tell myself, okay, you don't like it, you still do it. You do it because you're getting yourself on stage. You do it because you are giving yourself a chance to make a difference, to do what you love. And that's why you do what you do. Now, before I close my presentation, what questions do you have for me?
Can you sing again?
Probably not. Yes.
William, one of the strongest things that struck me when I watched this, and Simon going, that's no surprise. The strongest thing that hit me was the immense emotional feeling of rejection that you faced in front of a lot of people. How did you structure that in your mind? How did you deal with that?
I think it's the mindset, because at the time, I think one of the reasons I don't even know what the reason is, but perhaps one of the reasons I was able to get that accidental fame was because back in season 3 of American Idol, there are lots of people, when they don't make it to Hollywood, they would cuss back at the judges. They would throw water bottles at the judges. They would get angry. And I didn't see the need to be angry. What I thought was, I just there to have fun. I was given the opportunity and I make the most of it, and it's okay if it doesn't work out. And that's why I was able to say what I said. It wasn't scripted, it was what I felt at the time. Yes?
What did your parents say when they saw the audition on TV?
Well, they were a bit angry and upset at me. And it's very completely understandable, because I couldn't tell them, because if I were to tell my parents, they'd probably say, no way, William. You're not one of the most talented singers, therefore you shouldn't audition. And then I would have left it at that. So I thought that in order to give myself that chance, I had to put myself out there.
One of the things that I do, and none of you will find this to be surprising, is I go ahead and do it. I don't ask permission. I ask for forgiveness. One of the things that you need to do is you need to forgive yourself. And I think this presentation tells me that you have forgiven yourself for the process that you have. But I haven't heard where you really think you want to go now. I don't think I really heard what you want to do. The things that you have said, it's like I'm asking forgiveness, not permission. Where are you going to go next?
You mean in terms of my life?
Okay.
Well, in terms of my life, I do see myself as a full-time inspirational speaker. But that vision takes time to get there. I don't have control over the results, but I have control over what I do and who I work with. So I'm very grateful for Toastmasters. I'm very grateful for all the great friends and mentors that are behind me to even bring me much farther along that I would have gotten there by myself. So I do see myself getting there in 2 to 5 years, like even quitting my Condi job, and my dad would hate me for it. But yeah, but that's where I'm going.
You plan on being successful in that short amount of time?
2 to 5 years is a very reasonable time frame.
Serious?
Yes.
That's energetic.
You know, that statement that you just said about, you just said it right now, and it goes back to your American Idol thing where you said it's not the expectations or the results that you were after.
Yes.
I can't believe how you just tied that in right now, because that shows me how it's coming from your heart, because this accidental fame that you call it, it got you to where you are because these 3 judges, like you said, you didn't curse back at them. Look what it got you. So it means you're trying to say, because you didn't have these high expectations and you're appreciating everything, is what has gotten you. So that's really, that's a big lesson I'm taking away from this.
Oh, thank you so
That
much.
don't curse it just because you didn't get. In fact, it's coming to you because you didn't expect it.
Yes.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I never take things for granted. It's never easy. Nothing is easy. But I feel that if I have the right passion and do it for the right reasons to help people first, then I can get to where I want to be.
And you're very
Here, here.
appreciative of it.
Good job.
Are there any more other questions? So there's this closing story. So the closing story is, I know you asked about my parents. And my parents, so it's the hardest challenge for me, personally. Because my parents, they're more from a conservative background. My parents, my mom and dad always tell me, why do you do all this work? You have a stable job. You don't need to put yourself out there like that. And the truth is, it's not about just having a stable job. Yeah, I'm more than capable of handling my job for my administrative assistant or computer work or whatever it is, but it's not about that. It's about doing what you truly love and making a difference at the same time. And that's what I want to leave you with. So believe in yourself, believe in what you do, and become one of a kind.
Wow.
Fabulous. Let's go around the room. We're here to help you on your journey. And I like the fact that you said it's a 2 to 5 year plan. Maybe tomorrow he gets the lucky break and he's world famous. But that's not what most people have to do,
He's
right?
already world famous.
That's right.
Okay, I mean, the 6-figure speaker. So let's have some of the real meat here. Who wants to start? I think Christopher should start because
What I like is the way you captivate the whole room,
Mhm.
and you got us everyone involved.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that is in itself one of the best I've seen here for a long time.
Mhm.
And that's what the key is. See, if you can captivate the room, you've got it made. And that's what the public speaking is all about. You got everybody involved, you got laughs, you got cheers, you got everyone involved. And that's what public speaking is all about. The more that you can get interest from the people, the more that you can get engaged, it just becomes contagious throughout the whole room. And that's what you did. And so once you've done that, it's a piece of cake. So congratulations.
Okay.
You're promising him a piece of cake.
next, I don't know your name.
Amelia.
Amelia, please.
The first thing I really want to let you know that what you helped me with, and I think a lot of people, it's not really, I think the most important thing was you were authentically you. And so that allowed people
Yes.
to like you. Like you didn't have to be anybody else or sing like anybody else or try to, like all of that. It was you. And you said something that I wanted to just maybe tweak a little bit because I heard you say, how do I get them to care about me and my message? How do I, and it's not like, as a speaker, it's more the audience is the most important thing. And I know you know that, but I heard it, so it might be a subconscious thing that's still there, like how do I get them to notice me? And it's really more, no, how do I get them to like notice themselves through me? And I know you already know that, but I wanted to point that out. But thank you, because I just love reminders. I think, especially when we come to Toastmasters and we come to things like this, it's like, oh, how do I be like this person because they're so amazing, or how do I earn money that way that person did? But it's like we all have our own path, and like you're just authentically you, and it reminds me to do that for myself. So thank you.
Yes.
Hi, William. I just wanted to echo off of that and say you are very, very charismatic. And you have a really great smile and just beautiful energy. And I love that how, like Chris said, it's contagious. The whole room was smiling because everybody just felt it. I loved how you were very vulnerable, especially as you faced one of the hardest things in your life of being ridiculed by the whole world, and you turned that into something positive, and you're using it as a gift to share with people. I think that's a beautiful, powerful thing. Only suggestion I could ever give you is I love how you move when you're up there. I would say just go bigger because people love you. And I loved it and I wanted to dance with you and we were all laughing with you. Go bigger and it'll make that performance and that speech even better. But thank you so much. That was very entertaining. Great job.
All right.
Hi, William. Fabulous job. Really, you did such a great job. And I just want to reiterate, the authenticity piece is the biggest piece for me, because you do, and it was that Marianne Williamson quote, you know, when, who are you not to be brilliant and wonderful? When you are authentic and you are just you, no matter what that looks like, you are just you. You give other people permission to do the same thing, and that's what I think your gift is. And just, yeah, I love your energy and your enthusiasm and your willingness to put yourself out there and just be you. And I'm a big fan. Great job.
Yes.
William, I do want to thank you, like the other speakers have said, just for your vulnerability. I think that's amazing. One thing I noticed, and it might have been intentional just for this audience, maybe this isn't what you would do with your typical audience, but for tonight, you had this message of basically going forth and living your own dream, whatever that looks like. And then in there you switched and started talking about how to become a professional speaker. And I feel like you actually have two messages there. And if we circle back to what Ryan was talking about, if you're gonna find that why, and also that whom, right? The why is live your dream, no matter how big it is. And the whom is who is that audience you're talking to. You were actually doing two whys and two whom's in this speech. And so I would encourage you to think about that as you're going through, because both of those messages are very inspiring and encouraging. And you were vulnerable in both sides of that. But I think that you really drew us in at the beginning with that really personal, and that was like the most vulnerable anybody could be, right? On national television and just having people kind of attacking you. So that was really very powerful.
Lionel.
Thank you, Christine. In adding to what you just expressed, I want to mention the fact that I had a phone call with William, I think it was 2 days ago or so, and we spoke about that aspect, what you noticed. So I'm really happy that the audience noticed that, but I gave him the green light to do it that way. So it's actually on me. He had one way he wanted to do it. He suggested a new approach to it based on this audience, and I approved it. So that's on me. It's not
And it makes total sense
Exactly.
in this room. It really does. Yeah.
But I disagree with that because he spoke to me.
Exactly.
So I'm, no
Yeah, I
disrespect
feel you, man.
to you,
Yeah.
but I totally have to say, I didn't feel he lost track of me because
Exactly.
it was a segue. Again, I'm gonna go back to his authenticity. That word has been used a lot and it applies to him because his message is do what you love and the results are going to follow.
Yeah.
Yes, we're a room of speakers, but I still feel that can be, because this happened to me very recently. A month ago, I spoke at a women's group, and I could not believe it. I told them I'm going to do it for free. They don't even usually allow men speakers. At the end, they came and gave me a check, and it was my first paid speaking gig. So, boom, you got me there. And I don't know, like you have the authenticity. I like the word he used, vulnerable, because you're not afraid to show us. So I feel the speaking thing went with it because I went from being that, and if I can sing like Ricky Martin, damn it, I can get up and speak to them.
Marguerite.
I just want to speak to that one comment, because it was a little bit two things, but you could put that together just with a better segue by saying, you know, you need to go for what your dream is, and then, but my dream is public speaking, and then so it could turn it into a personal story about the message. So it was just like a couple of words, and you would have that right together.
And to add to that, before you take over, Richard, in March, we're going to have him come back and go educational to share that specific journey. So I started speaking with him on that, so we're going to schedule that.
We have to wait that long?
Okay, Richard.
It could be back at 5
I'll echo what everyone else said around the.
He's a busy speaker.
I think, well, I would want to repeat everything I thought was fantastic. You have a great personality, and as Lionel also said in his presentation, who you are off stage affects who you are on stage. So your humility, your authenticity, courage, all that stuff ties in. The one part I want to commend you for right now in this moment is that opening part of your presentation, obviously it was practiced in a very good way. It's very refined. It takes us back into that moment. You used a lot of you language, and one thing that really resonated for me and stood out was how you went for it. When you did she bangs, like that whole thing, it takes courage to do that again in that bravado. Because a lot of people, like, I've done similar things to that, and I'm scared to put myself out there, but that gave me inspiration, because I'm an inspirational speaker as well. When I go on stage, I get to step it up with my awkward situations and go all out, just like you did, so thank you.
Let's have one more if there is one. Okay. please, Bob.
Trying to figure out the best way to, because I'm relating it to what I'm learning and have learned. And again, piggybacking on what they said about you being authentic, that's for sure. And I've heard you do this because of the other club I was in. And I'm trying to discern where the engagement came from. The humor and all of that, and definitely the power of you, but I still am trying to figure out how you really connected with us. You know, maybe different parts of your journey to engage with the audience and how we can relate to that, perhaps. Maybe examples. I'm not real sure. I kind of am thinking about it right now. But it's not that you're not engaging and fun to watch and listen to, and the humor, but it was a lot of stuff, and I was trying to follow, and then just trying to figure out where that real deep connection came from. So.
You know, John Wayne said, a real cowboy is scared to death, but he saddles up anyway. And I believe, William, you not only saddled up for American Idol, but you've saddled up with us.
Aww.
And you're out there doing it, and I want to tell you, I am inspired by your talk. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
That Lionel has some more to offer us tonight, and he's going to wrap up the rest of this program. Is that right?
Is that true?
That's true. That's what it says on my program right here. And that's the word right there. Lionel, thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Of course, my pleasure. Thank you. How about we give him a big round of applause, folks? Thank you. Thank you. Very well done. Yes, you may be seated. A few announcements and we wrap up the meeting, but before the announcements, as a tradition, we go over the sharing time. This is the time where you get to stand up and tell us what you've been up to so far as speaking or communication is concerned, any business venture that